I'm Heather from Booktubes, and today is the mid-year freak-out book tag, which is a booktube staple. It has truly transcended tag culture and has become something that we all do same time of year, every year. This is my third time filming it, or third year I should say, and I really enjoy it. I think the questions are really well done. I did see a version that Books and Lala did that had a additional question, which I included for this. And also, if you watched my live with World Hoppers where we did the mid-year book tag, some of my answers are different, so this isn't just seeing the same thing over again, just in case you're wondering. Okay, the first question is best book that you've read, and that would be Hitting the Wall, which is Stonecut County #1 by Cate Wells. This is a hard-hitting, I would say, a contemporary romance, which if you described any and all of this book to me, I would be like, pass. I also know for sure if I didn't already trust this author, I probably would have DNF'd at the beginning of the book, just not trusting that all of the things that they were putting me through would be worth it in the end, even though they very much were. So this is going to deal a lot with nepotism, corruption, the idea that if you are the golden boy of the town, the way that the rich, wealthy white people who you grew up with treat you is not how they treat other people. And so your perception of them is warped by your privilege and the way that they treat you. And I thought that that was a very interesting theme throughout the book. So you have a teenage girl who is impregnated by a police officer who thought that she was of age. She is not. Thought that she was of age, saw her at a bonfire, they were both drunk, they hooked up, and that was it. He doesn't know anything about her, right? But when a rumor goes around that she's pregnant by him, the chief of police, his dad, his uncle, all these people come and they basically run her out of town. They threaten her grandfather, say that he'll lose his job and his place to live if she were going to tarnish the reputation of this man who's in his very early 20s. So she does. She leaves. She's pregnant. The uncle gives her money to have an abortion and she leaves town. She doesn't have an abortion. She's a single mom to a 6-year-old girl when we pick back up with her, and the little girl is autistic. The mom is having a lot of problems with the school personnel over her daughter. So she's advocating for her daughter. She's a high school dropout who's a single mom, and she is fiercely protective of her daughter, but she also doesn't have the resources that she needs. She doesn't have a support system or anything like that. Her mom is an addict. So she decides to go back to Stonecut County so that she can live for cheap rent in her grandfather's old trailer and save enough money to do what she needs to do for her little girl. So she returns and the police officer sees her, and he's never forgotten her. He sees her alongside the road with a little girl who's the spitting image of his sister, who's also autistic. And the care that he took, the repentance, the groveling, all of that to me paid off all of the suffering that we were watching. And also, this woman will do anything for her daughter, and he's gonna have to prove that he can be trusted to be in their life, and it's so great. He takes care of her, he does all the things. He really, has the scales lifted from his eyes, seeing the people in his life for what they really are, as well as there's other things that are coming out with the corruption and stuff. It is so good, and the beginning of the book is so stressful. I loved the single parent romance, even though it's the two parents of the child. They were never in a relationship, and it really is one person has been in this little girl's life her whole life, and one is just meeting her. It was fantastic. Like I said, I cannot even begin to tell you how much I would not read this if you were describing it to me. And it is my favorite thing that I've read of the year. Cate Wells can pull anything off in my eyes. Next one is the best sequel, and for this, if you are a romance reader, and you probably are if you are familiar with my channel, but not everyone who watches the tag is going to watch every channel religiously. Romance series often are interconnected standalones, so this book is a standalone about this couple, and then you're getting a book about their best friend or their brother or whatever having their own relationship. So I didn't count any of those. I went with There Is No Devil, which is There's No Saints #2 by Sophie Lark. This is a dark new adult duet. It has serial killers and quite a few content warnings for child abuse, domestic abuse, serial killers, mutilation and torture of women, etc., etc. So it is a dark book, but it has been a while since the third or the second book in a trilogy or a duet. That final book really landed for me just as well as the beginning, and this one did. I loved both books in the duet. I was very happy with it. That has not happened in so long. I was thrilled to my core at the way that she pulled off the ending in the second book. I felt like their relationship still kept at the same pacing and focus that it should, with the plot also moving forward, the finale being great. I just really enjoyed it. If you like dark serial killer stuff, this is a really good one. Then the extra question is your favorite reread. For these, I have two. One is the entire Hidden Legacy series, which I'm reading for the Hidden Legacy read-along with Steph, Megan, and Izzy. This experience, not only are these books so good and so worthy of a reread on their own, but rereading and then getting to discuss everything with my friends and getting their perspective and the things that they remember and point out that I also loved or didn't know this. It's been so much fun. It's really elevated the experience. This is an urban fantasy romance series. Highly recommend if that sounds good at all. There's magic. There's a variety of magic taking place in a United States that has had magic since the 60s and how society might have evolved. And it's so interesting, so good. Just truly one of my all-time favorites, and rereading it has been a huge highlight of my reading year. The other would be Runposey Run by Cate. This is the first in the Underboss Insurrection series by her. The second book I thought was coming out in July, but it looks like it's coming out in August. I reread this, and this is about a psychopath who is a mafia money man, and his longtime girlfriend, he finds out that she's cheating on him because of revenge porn, and he kicks her out, and he's so angry, and he feels like he should have killed her or he should have kept her or something. But you watch him slowly develop a feeling for her, maybe not love, maybe obsession, but a feeling for her, and she is so needy in a way that like she needs love. And one, being inside their minds, because you get to dual POV, was so fascinating the first time around, but reading it the second time and knowing exactly where things are going and all of that, it just was a really good experience. If you're thinking about rereading it, I recommend. It was a good reread. Then I have new release that you have not read yet, and that is the 2-Minute Warning, which is the Houston Skyhawks #2 by Alexandra Warren. This just came out. I've been looking forward to it for a while. The first book came out last year and I read it right away. These are NFL romances, so you have professional football players are on the same team. The first one was a defensive player, and I don't even know who this one is about, but I don't care. I'm excited. It's Black Love. I really like Alexandra Warren. I think she's a severely underhyped author. I really recommend trying her out if you haven't yet. And I have an anticipated release for the second half of the year, July 8th, Inextricably Tied, which is the Lost Touch Duet #2, a monster romantic suspense by Aveda is coming out. I am so excited for this. I plan on doing a dedicated reading vlog. It is polyamorous, monster, gargoyle, paranormal, serial killer, night terror, romantic suspense. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I know Aveda's goal is to make me cry. We'll see if they get me there, but I cannot wait. I can't wait. I will be reading it on release day. My other really anticipated release is Nikki the Driver, which is Underboss Insurrection #2 by Cate. I can't wait. Rereading Runposey Run, I was able to, see him appear in the book and be like, yes, I do. I want your book. I have absolutely no idea what plot or relationship type or any of the things that she could be planning for this character. We barely know him. We like his boss, so I feel like he's not going to overthrow his boss. Like, I don't know what she's going to do, but I will read it on release day. Next is Biggest Disappointment, and for me this is solidly Stolen Ice Bride by Angela J. Ford. I gave this book 1 star. It was a novella. It was bad. It was bad. I was so hoping to find a diverse fantasy series that would be steamy and great and I could love, and that did not deliver. 1, this had no steam whatsoever, but 2, it was just like 2 paper cutouts of characters going on this journey. Like, I did not care. It was bad. It was so bad. And I was really frustrated by it because I was really, really wanting something great. Next is Biggest Surprise, and for this I'm going to go with Our Teachers Are Dating, which is a kind of steamy manga. It's sapphic. It is 2 teachers. One's the PE teacher and one is English, science, something like that. But it's very slice of life. Not very much happens at all. You start after they've already finally started dating, after like dancing around each other for like 3 years. It's just so cute. I really liked how short they were as well. I read the first 2 volumes. They're fantastic. I was expecting to like it because Izzy sent it to me, so I figured I would like it. But I wasn't expecting to absolutely love it the way that I am. And I think part of that is that it's just very focused on them having a good time, being nice to each other, communicating even when they're not too sure about what's happening. And also it's just so short. So I feel like I'm getting through it quickly, and that's really helpful. Next is Favorite New Author. For me, favorite new authors for like my end of year stuff, it always has to be, I have to have read more than 1 book by them, and I have to have loved more than 1 book by them. So I have Drea Anderson, who writes really feel good, low conflict, low angst shifter, or I guess I should say paranormal romances. They're Black love. I know one was a bear shifter and a witch, and another was 2 different panther shifters. I'm really enjoying her series. I am looking forward to picking up more of her work. I'm really enjoying it. I like what she's doing. The other one would be Sophie Lark. I did read the There Are No Saints duet, and I have read the first 2 books in the Brew the Birthright series. Really enjoying it. It is cracky. It is, you know, what I want from those types of books. I'm trying to make my way to the Kingmaker series, I think, is the one that I think I will really love. But I would like to read through Birthright, which I don't always do. I'm not really big on, you have to read all the books that come before to get to the favorite. You know, I'm not interested in reading 6 books to get to the 7th, which is amazing. But I do want to read the Brew the Birthright series. It's good. I wouldn't say it's great. It's good, but I've heard that Kingmaker is great, and that's what I'm striving towards. Then I have Newest Crush. This is going to be The Fighter from Neighborly by Katrina Jackson. So you have 2 couples, and one moves in next door to each other, and they can hear each other through the walls and stuff. The women are going to be involved, and then the women are also involved with their husbands. Their husbands are actually going to be in the room sometimes, but it's definitely polyamorous where the husbands are not in any way involved with each other. I loved it. I didn't think I would love it. I thought I would like it. And I loved it, and I am a sucker for a fighter, you know, UFC, boxer, any of those things. I truly am a sucker for it, and I really liked all the characters. I truly did, but I just really liked the fighter so much. I liked how he handled everything. I liked the locker room banging scenes. I liked his drive and how he was trying to take care of his girl. And I just really liked him a lot. Next, newest favorite character. This is going to remain Winnie from The Never King. This is a Peter Pan retelling that is like a paranormal retelling, so the guys have magic and everything. Winnie is 18 years old, and she immediately tries to sleep with them to get out of what's happening. You definitely have some content warnings for mental illness. Winnie is someone who is used to using sex to take care of herself and get what she wants and get what she needs from people. And I really liked that about her character. I liked that that made sense for her to then immediately sleep with these guys that she was attracted to, but were also her captors and were scary. I loved everything about it, so I love it. Next, a book that made me cry. I cry a lot. I am a sympathetic crier. I don't cry when I get mad, but I'm a sympathetic crier, and also I would say crying is a release for me. If I'm overwhelmed, I will shed a few tears and I will let that pressure out, right? Most recent one was actually a reread. It's The Will, which is Magdalene #1 by Kristen Ashley. This deals heavily with grief. The entire premise, you open up with her at her grandmother's funeral, and then at the reading of the will, her grandmother left her to this guy that she had never met or heard of. And it turns out he was very involved with her grandmother. He and his kids were, you know, in her life, in her house, around all the time, and she had never met him. And just some of the grief things, I cried. I did. It got me. So I would definitely say, you know, if you're in a stage of life where grief is heavy on you, maybe don't read this book, but it's so sweet. I don't care. It got me. Next is the book that made you happy. For this, I am definitely staying with That Time I Got Drunk and Needed a Love Potion and the Werewolf, which is Mean Mishaps #2 by Kimberly Lemming. I've read each and every one of these books on release day or right after release. I really love this fantasy series that is funny and steamy and diverse. It's one of those things where if you hate like modern language, or if you want like really in-depth gritty world building, you're not gonna like this series. But if you're just there for a good time, you're probably going to get a good time out of these books, and they really do make me happy. I enjoy them. I find the humor great. I really like the relationships. I like all of it. And I recommend them all the time. Next, I have The Most Beautiful Book That You Bought This Year. I usually don't buy books. I did pre-order this book though, because I've been looking forward to it since Cate Robert dropped the cover last year, and that is The Dragon's Bride by Cate Robert. You have a demon dragon, and this clinch illustrated paranormal, gorgeous, detailed cover is everything I've ever wanted. Of a romance cover. I love some of the covers that have been inspired by this. This was the first. This is my favorite. It truly is just so pretty. And I haven't read it yet. Somebody bully me. And lastly, I have books I need to read in 2022. I don't put a lot of pressure on myself for this, but I do have some very specific goals to finish up in 2022. One is I do need to finish the Hidden Legacy series, which will happen through our read along. Can't wait. So excited. I'm in new to me territory, and I'm really excited about it. I am doing a reread of the Anne of Green Gables series. This is an 8-book classic series, and it goes from the time that Anne is an 11-year-old child to the time that her youngest child is an adult, and they are in a world war as well. I am on book 4, where she is dating her future husband and is a teacher, and this is definitely, it was written over 100 years ago. There are content warnings for casual racism and other casualisms, but I am trying to get through them, even though they're not what I currently read. They are still like all-time favorites of mine. Like, I loved Ellen Montgomery growing up, and because this does go through her children, I would really like to read this as a parent, as an adult. Then also my latest live, which was an absolute blast. It was so much fun. It was hilarious. I had the best time. I agreed to a Ice Planet Barbarians first book read along and buddy read with all of my co-hosts plus a few viewers, and I refuse to be the weak link, okay? I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna be the one who doesn't participate, even though that would be on brand. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna read it, so that's not a requirement as well. That's it. That's the tag. A oldie but a goodie. Truly just a fun time. Yeah, let me know if you've read or want to read any of these. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.